What's up, guys? Welcome to Trensparent. I lived a lonely and suicidal childhood, subject to bullying, racism, and body shaming. This upbringing led me to do anything I could in my power to try to become a better man, even at the cost of my own health. Had there been something that I wish I had, that would be a community, a friend, and to truly see that I wasn't alone. Had there been something that I wish I had known, it would be that true happiness comes not from the validation of others, but from the validation of self. This podcast isn't intended to promote the use of substances such as PETs, but to open up with guests about our experiences and in all aspects truly see that we aren't alone. We are in this roller coaster of life together. Welcome, ladies and gents, to the very first episode of Trensparent.
Let's go. Let's go.
We were originally going to name this Nyle's Vials as a joke from a few of our friends, but to be honest, it could have been pretty funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, just pop a vial of Cialis before every podcast.
Niles Vials is absolutely hilarious.
They absolutely rock hard.
Yeah, just get belligerent on the podcast.
But I did want to do something deeper with this podcast. The podcast is something that I've always wanted to start ever since I was in high school. And so, finally, after years and years of procrastination, we are here. And the reason that I really, really wanted to start this podcast was because there are a lot of things that I believe that even though things are opening up and there's a lot of transparency, a lot more transparency in this modern day and age than say 5-10 years ago, I feel like there's still a lot of things that people are very unwilling to talk about. And a lot of these things are things that I really wish I had information on when I was a kid.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a new wave right now. A lot of people are talking about it, but there's still people that are in the closet, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard thing. I mean, it just hurts because people can be self-educated because of that. And in turn, you're doing a lot more bad than good by keeping it under the closet and not mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we'll go into that in a second because that was a big part of my childhood growing up. I did some things that I wish I had more knowledge on, and I really destroyed myself and my body because I didn't really understand what I was doing. I kind of just jumped into it because it was so hard to find the knowledge out there. It was so hard to find the information out there. Whereas now we're starting to have things in the, what is that the phrase? The tip of your fingertips?
I don't know.
Dude.
Tip of your fingertips. No, that's redundant.
Yeah. Anyways.
That's your fingertips.
Anyways, that was definitely redundant. So the reason I created this podcast, first off, to preface what the topics are going to be covered during this podcast, is that I really wanted to talk about things both in the fitness and bodybuilding industry and out. A lot of these things that people are unwilling to talk about. But if you guys have originally subbed to any of my PED videos or enjoyed the content I post that includes topics like such, then this is the podcast where we will be covering a lot of those topics. Nathan is my guest today, but hopefully he will be a returning co-host for a lot of other future episodes.
Yeah.
I think that would be a lot of fun too.
Yeah, that would be some fun, man.
Plus, Nathan has a great perspective, in my opinion, and he's a hella fucking smart dude for his age. So,
thank you, sir.
Would be some good value.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so including those topics such as PEDs, something that I really want to cover in this podcast is going to be things including physical fitness to mental health, turning your passion into your career, overcoming judgment and self-doubt, social media growth, because that's a big part of our lives, relationships from just love life and actual interacting relationships, creating intimacy, and also potentially PUA, if you guys have ever heard of that in the past. That's something that I had delved to when I was a kid. I'm not such I wouldn't say I'm an advocate for PUA right now because I feel like PUA is kind of a very intentional thing.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like you can really manifest the relationships you want without having the kind of intentions that PUA has a foundation on.
Absolutely.
But it's a cool topic. And then monogamy to polygamy and polyamory, because I know a lot of people are also interested in that. Lifestyle to competitive building, bodybuilding's effect on wellness and mental health, because there is a big effect on both of those. A big one.
Yeah, it complicates things.
Yeah. Psychedelics to PEDs. Some dabble in spirituality and religion to woke ideology and more. So there's a lot of things that I really do want to cover. A lot of really interesting topics, but I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be super dope. And then we're going to have a bunch of other guests that I've always wanted to have conversations with on this podcast. So there's a lot of people I've wanted to have conversations with, and I know a few of them are already down. So
it's going to be a great ride, man.
It's going to be a sick one.
Excited for it.
It's going to be a sick one.
Yeah.
Something that I thought that I'd love for Nathan and I to talk about right now is essentially one of the reasons, a big reason why I started this podcast, why we started PEDs. Because I feel like it will truly relate to the reasoning behind this and why I feel like this has meaning to me. So one big reason that I started PEDs is that back when I was a kid, I had admired so many physiques online and social media. And I always was very, very insecure of my body. Because I grew up as, when I was growing up in middle school, dude.
Am I snorting?
What is it called again when we sleep and it's like you fall asleep and you can't breathe?
That's sleep apnea.
Yeah, sleep apnea.
Yeah.
I feel like I just have apnea, dude, at all times.
I swear it's the Filipino sinuses. It's always been like this. It's like they're like chronically congested.
Yeah, dude. I feel like it's more common amongst Filipinos.
I think so.
We just have pug blood in our skin.
It's straight pug. Straight pug.
But what? Yeah, sorry. that was so off track. But yeah, I had always admired all of these physiques, and ever since I was a kid, I lived in Texas, and back then in Texas, I was born in 1995. Kids back then were pretty damn racist. From the late 1990s to like the early 2000s, they were like hella racist, and it did not help that I was this big ass like really chubby kid that was like totally a poster boy for Panda Express. Looked like that kid that'd just be like smiling on a poster with rice cakes.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I was like heavily bullied, especially about like my physique and my I don't know, health status, I guess. Because my parents would put me in sports, but I would obviously never perform well, so I'd never be picked for like scrimmages or anything or for teams.
Yeah.
I was always like picked last, obviously, because I was like probably one of the least fit people on the team. So that all contributed to me feeling insecure and wanting to become better of myself, which was awesome because I wanted to become better. But the thing is, I really didn't have a lot of information back then. So the first thing I started doing when I finally just snapped was that I just started starving myself. I just started fasting, quote unquote fasting, but really just not eating, because all I like knew was like, oh, like calories in, calories out. Like I needed to just stop eating. And something my mom told me too, she was just like, I was complaining, and my mom was like very, very hard. She wasn't very empathetic at the time. So she was just like, why don't you just stop eating then? And so,
wow.
And it just drew me over the edge because I really wanted pizza that day.
Yeah.
Basically what happened was I really wanted Caesar's pizza, and my mom wouldn't let me get Caesar's pizza.
That's pretty ruthless.
It was ruthless, bro. I really wanted Caesar's pizza. But then she the thing is just more so of the way that she communicates to me kind of always really hurt. And so after that day, I just snapped and started fasting. And I would go to the toilet to like throw up. Yeah. I would try not to eat for like a whole day at least. It was really, really bad. I lost 40 pounds in like just a little over a month.
Wow.
I was losing a pound a day.
40 pounds in a month.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
That's insane. Wow.
Yeah. And so I went on this roller coaster of like bad diet issues, right? And then just fast forward later on, I started figuring out how to diet correctly. Because because people such as like Matt Ogus were on YouTube, right? And he was like the one guy that was like showing people how he gets really, really thick skin shredded by eating like these giant bowls of salad, and the whole time he's counting his macros. He basically, like, I feel like he was one of the people that kind of exposed macros as like a great way to track, you know, your energy input versus output.
Yeah.
And so I started following that. I also started following Ice Cream for PRs by Jeff Nippard as well. Learned a lot through that. And that was cool because social media was starting to bring a lot of information to the surface that helped me out in my fitness journey. Otherwise, I would be, you know, over there thinking like, oh, I should eat no carbs, or I should fast and I should starve myself. And then finally, after I started getting a knack for my diet and I got really healthy and I figured out how to do that correctly and everything, a few years later, I'm in college, like sophomore year, and I start deciding that I want to commit to a show, a bodybuilding show, because I want to really get myself lean. I've never really been like truly like healthily lean, and I wanted to figure out how to like get myself there and commit to it. So I paid all the last money I had left in college to do a bodybuilding show. And I'm like, if I don't do this bodybuilding show and do this properly, I just wasted like $400 or something on the tan, on the entry fee, and all that other shit. And that was a super sick experience, right? But then moving forward, like, I really wish there had been more knowledge and more information out there on PEDs, because I believe if there was something that like told me like, yo, you could really fuck your shit up doing this, like this in particular, then I probably wouldn't have just like blindly taken orals from a coach of mine after like 6 competitions. So I like competed like 6 times, and I kept failing at nationals time and time after again. And I just got depressed, and I was like, I have never wanted anything so badly in my entire life, except for my pro card. Like, I've never wanted anything else so badly in my entire life. I just really wanted my pro card. And I was always getting like 15th, 16th plus place.
Really?
Which means like I wasn't even being placed.
Really?
Yeah. Because like my physique was just a little too soft.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't necessarily soft. I was very lean, but like you understand that like the difference that cosmetics, that orals, things like, you know, DHT derived PEDs can have a cosmetic look on your physique. And so I just took this from my coach, kept competing. Now imagine you have competed 9 shows. You have never taken any kind of hormonal or steroid injections whatsoever. So you haven't supported your testosterone level in any way. I didn't really know what PCTing was. My coach just gave me some like, what was it, like Arimidex and some AIs and stuff.
That's
some
insane.
Nolvadex. But like I definitely never took HCG during that entire time as well.
Yeah.
So imagine a natty person, 9 shows in a row, just trying to get as shredded as possible, like 9 shows. And then I jump on orals the last 3 shows. Like, you could imagine what my testosterone would be like at the end of that.
Oh, it's probably in the shitter.
It was in the dude.
Yeah.
It was in the shit.
And you're taking an AI, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you
estrogen was in a shit too.
You literally have no hormones in your body.
No hormones. Testosterone was down the drain, an empty bucket.
Crazy.
Estrogen was basically nothing. So no sex drive. I was always dehydrated. My skin was always dry. Obviously, all of that stuff really affected, and I didn't know this at the time, so I wasn't even doing blood work. All that shit really affected my my lipids, obviously, my liver enzymes, because I'm taking orals, I'm taking AIs, I'm taking Nolvadex.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. So I obviously also was not taking any, ancillaries or any protective supplements. So my health was just going down the drain, and I didn't know why. And I was like, why do I feel like I'm getting smaller? Like, I feel like I get like huge when I take these PDs, but the moment I'm off any orals, I feel like I get smaller. And so what does that make me want to do? Like, I'm still trying to do research, and I'm still trying to understand everything at the same time, but I can only do so much while I'm in school for engineering, while I'm competing. That's why I got a coach in the first place, so he could like try to teach me, right? But most coaches don't really teach you. They just give you a plan, because if they taught you, then you wouldn't be their client anymore after some time, because then you would have the knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, then again, you know, you can make the argument that, you know, you want a second pair of eyes for when you actually jump on stage. But, you know, if that's not the sole purpose that you have a coach or anything, then you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, dude, I was like, where am I going? I was really f***ed up, and I was, couldn't figure out why I was so unhealthy after a while.
That makes sense, man. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, and it's negligent from your coach's side too, to have someone, you know, and I'm not trying to bash the guy, but like, you know, you're paying this guy money to have him give you his 2 cents and his experience, and you're trusting him to give you a proper protocol, you know, and just to take orals and an AI and have absolutely zero hormones in your body, and you're in a drastic cut because you're competing, and just have like complete negligence to that. I mean, it's pretty crazy in my eyes how you could just like be okay with that, you know, as a coach.
Yeah. But then again, you know, there's a lot of coaches out there that have so many clients, right? That we talked about this before. That they don't even really have the energy to give to their clients that aren't their best, or they don't really like, there's like only certain amount that you can care, because let's be honest, we're only human, you know what I mean? You can only care so much for so many things. But if you have 100 clients, can you really care about every single person? Can you really care about 100 lives? That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't prescribe oral steroids point blank period to anyone.
Yeah.
Like anyone. Like, just like, here, take some D-ball and some Winstraw, and like, you'll be good. Put an AI in there. Nah, you're fine. Like, I would never do that. It's crazy.
Right. But, you know, that was the bodybuilding industry back in the day, and I don't know how much it's changed now. I feel like people are starting to like be a little bit more conscious about health and stuff, especially since a lot of bodybuilders have died in the past and as of recently.
Yeah.
So I have faith that it's going to get better, but yeah, essentially, long story short, I really wish I had a lot of this information in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I think that's just like a very fundamental thing to the stuff that we talk about and what we're trying to push forward for this podcast. You know, just have open conversation and be really truthful and have open dialogue with PEDs, you know, because people are saying, oh, you're glorifying it, you're talking about it in like a good lighting, and it's not necessarily the case. I think the deeper meaning to this is more so that we're trying to push a space for open dialogue, you know, because at the end of the day, like, that's how you get real information. And, you know, whatever we say can be critiqued by others, and then that creates a better space for all of us, because it just gets refined and refined and refined, and then you get a good idea and you're self-educated from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It is one thing I do love about the space is that people may not, you know, obviously, like, there is hate out there, but I will always have something to learn. I will never know everything. So if you guys catch me on something, then fucking, you know, feel free to call me out in the comments.
Yeah.
Because I want to learn. I want to make sure I know my shit.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So
that's
it helps me too.
Yeah. I mean, it's always a work in progress.
Yeah.
You know, everything. I mean, in terms of like the second you think you know it all is like the second you stay stagnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if you guys want or are curious about any other topics or anything that you guys want us to talk about, please comment it in our, if you're on YouTube, then please like put it in the comments and stuff. And then if you're on any of the other platforms, please leave us a review. Let us know what you think. It'll help us so much. So we're going to be putting this out on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, all the works.
The good stuff.
The podcast
baby.
works. Yeah. Can you share with us maybe just a little bit of like your experience? Do you have any experience or in regards to like why you started PEDs, or did you have anything that is in some similarity to like what I experienced?
So I mean, in terms of my upbringing, I was always in decent shape. I think I was blessed genetically as a kid just to be,
Yeah, bro.
usually stronger than most of
I
the
think you were
kids.
blessed genetically too.
I was fairly, I mean, you are too, like it's just,
No, I know,
I
I
think
know.
as a
I'm just kidding,
kid,
bro.
yeah, but like for me, I think it was more of an issue of always wanting to be stronger, always wanting to be fast because I played
Yeah,
football, football was my main sport.
yeah,
I was always known as like the kid that was like jacked, and
yeah,
at
dude.
first I didn't really work out. I was just kind of stronger because of football, and then just people perceiving me as that. I'm like, I can take this bigger, I can work out more, I can get bigger, and like that kind of fueled me just to like become an absolute gym rat. So I mean, I was working out like twice a day in high school, because I'm a running back. So the bigger I get, the faster I get. Like it works very well as a running back. So that kind of made me fall in love in the process of weightlifting. And throughout the years, especially after high school, I was kind of over football because I was doing football my whole life. It takes a toll on your body, and I was just kind of over the whole aspect of it. But I still really enjoyed weightlifting. So that was something that I kept getting into, and I kind of just like it was a rock for me. It was like a solid
Yeah,
foundation for my life, and it kept me in check. And I knew that when I wasn't working out, that's when I wasn't doing well mentally. So when I was really on it and I was getting it, I was in the gym every day. That's when I knew like, okay, like I'm in a good place. I've a good fire, I have good motivation. This is solid. So that's something that I was always doing. And I think in after high school, I was really trying to consider like what I want to do with my life, like what's my goal, what's my passion. And it was always, weightlifting, staying on top of my nutrition, staying on top of my training. Like that's something I was really passionate about. I was passionate about telling people about it, just learning a lot of stuff about that. And I started getting into PEDs and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like there's so much stuff to this, like
yeah, dude.
it's like you're a chemistry project and like you
It's like
can
you're
just
playing with fucking Captain America.
yeah, and you can just like really refine it, and just how in depth it all got. I just fell into that rabbit hole, and along that, in that process, I was thinking like, I could really make something from this in terms of social media aspect and just becoming, getting my foot in the door in the realm of fitness, being a coach, just doing stuff that is just really just in the realm of fitness, and PEDs kind of when I got really attracted to that kind of went hand in hand when I started realizing I could make this move. So yeah, I decided to pull the trigger. I did my research. I just made sure that I knew what I was doing and what I was putting in my body and what the best game plan was for me, and hopped on, man. So I think it was for me. It came from a side of it's never good enough. Like I was always like seen as the big guy. I was always seen as a strong guy. So I always just want to be bigger, faster, stronger. And the whole PD thing was just kind of like a catalyst to all that. Yeah.
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 Well, you definitely put in the work, dude, for sure.
Dude, I worked my ass off. Yeah.
Like people always underestimate. They're like, "Oh, dude, someone was talking to me the other day, and he was just like, I feel like I'm reaching a plateau." And I'm like, "Okay, so, not if you see this video, bro. I already explained to you what I was thinking too, so I hope you don't take this personally. But I thought it was something to note that he was like, "Oh, I'm 20 years old," and I'm like, "Okay, well, how long have you been training?" And he said about 4 years, and I was like, maybe it's not that you're reaching a plateau. Maybe what it is that you've been training for 4 years now, so it's slowing down.
Yeah.
But being 20 years old, you still have a lot of potential.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the fact that you've only been training 4 years, that's honestly nothing in the realm of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, I think they underestimate the amount of experience you have because even though you haven't been bodybuilding for like 10 years, you've been in football for that
Yeah.
long. And you've
Yeah.
been conditioning and training for some heavy ass shit for a
Yeah.
long time.
No, yeah. I mean, I was, before I even touched PDs, I was working out for like, a good 8 years, solid. And that's like working out, like just
Yeah.
really like just falling in love with the craft. Like I said,
Right.
like, working out 2 times a day. Like, I probably shouldn't have. I was probably over training, but like that's just a testament to like how driven it was, and in the process, like that doesn't mean that I didn't hit plateaus, like I feel like we all hit plateaus, but For me, it was just more so like you hit a plateau and you realize like it's not an issue of my body not being able to grow anymore. It's something in my training that has become stagnant, you know?
Right. Right.
So like whether it's my reps, my sets, my intensity, my diet, like there's something that I'm doing that my body has fully adapted to that I need to change or up the intensity of, you know? Yeah.
I did forget to preface this that when he was talking about plateaus and I was saying maybe it's not a plateau, I didn't completely. The whole story is like I was saying it could be potentially, but he was saying that he felt like it was time for him to jump on PEDs. And my explanation to him was that you can if you want to. But the thing is, once you do PEDs, right? Like, if you want to maximize your potential, then I think it's best for you to maximize what you've got before you start doing the PEDs.
Yeah.
Because there's only so many PEDs you take. Like, you start a drug, no matter what drug it is, and you start building a tolerance to that drug. You start noticing more side effects over like the positive effects that you felt about that drug, right? The more you take, the worse it can, the less effective it is, and it reacts in your body. Like say for example, for weed, like you smoke weed and you feel amazing on it for a while, and then after a little bit, it's like your body starts to reject it.
Yeah, like turns.
It's like you start having, it turns on you. You start having a little bit more anxiety. You could have the argument. I think Joe Rogan had an argument that he believes that maybe it's just telling you things that you need to know or you should see.
Yeah,
like things that you need to check yourself on.
Yeah. See,
But it definitely does. For a lot of people, it definitely fucking turns on them.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, like I was, when I was in college, I was like borderline stoner. Like I would smoke every single day.
Yeah.
And for me, honestly, like what you were talking about, like what Joe Rogan was saying, I mean, that's honestly why I was doing it, because I would face these things that were like major insecurities of mine, and it was cool because I felt like I was working some of that out. But I feel like it got to a point where, my head was too far up in the clouds 24/7 and I wasn't really grounded to reality. And I didn't have a good balance of that. And as I just kept smoking, I realized that it kept turning on me because I was getting so invested into just purely my insecurities, and it would just like literally take me over. So I saw it turn and I just stopped smoking. I was like, I'm over this. I'm done with this. But I mean, yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff you can learn like that when you're taking weed. Yeah.
So, long story short, if you want to maximize your potential, I think it's widely believed in the industry that you should try to maximize your natty gains first.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if
it's your choice.
Yeah, it's your choice. If anything, it's like you said, it's like you're wasting the compound because your training's not in check, your diet's not in check. It's not like you are fully invested in the process. And I mean, really, it's a little irresponsible just to hop on PDs if that's not on the case, because I mean, you're sacrificing your health ultimately for like a very minimal return.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And then your hair just starts falling out, and the longer you do it, the more acne you get, and then and this is all the tiny little surface level problems.
Yeah.
This isn't including the clogging that you're getting in there and the potential increase of risk of heart attacks and
that left ventricular hypertrophy. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a big science project.
Yeah, man. No, it is. I mean, you could fully do it responsibly too. I don't know.
Oh, okay. We're gonna take a quick break because my camera turns off, and then we need to take a piss.
Yeah.
Be right back. Young LA. If you guys love the brand of these dope ass jerseys, code Nyle for Young LA. Young LA jerseys, Young LA shit, Young LA pants, Young LA everything. They have everything. Code Nyle, and then huge supplements, the protein and the pre-workout that I use. Dope ass products. Rect goes so hard, and pump serum is hard as well. Kind of like Gorilla Mind in a way, but they're double the dose. So they're very high doses of stuff. I would start these at like a half scoop first, and then titrate up as needed. But code Nyle for another discount off of that as well. And then again, if you guys are looking for getting your blood work done, or you do feel low symptoms of testosterone, then check out Transcend HRT with the link in the description below. Trensparent. We're back with Trensparent with Nyle Naga.
Niles Vials.
Nyle Naga and Gorilla.
Yeah.
If you guys can tell, we didn't just take a little full vial of ketamine.
Vial of ketamine.
There would be zero conversation.
Intravenous ketamine.
Intravenous ketamine. Nay.
Little horse trank.
All right. So we do want to keep this as serious and also informative if we can, because if we have any value that we can provide for people, that would be fucking sick. But we also want to have a little fun. So good thing I live in California.
Little Chief Keefer. Yeah.
Sick.
Yig.
That's so nice. So nice. Anyways, guys, by the way, if you guys are feeling symptoms of low T, this is depression, lack of motivation, lack of drive, no sex drive, small muscles,
Limp
more
dick.
fat, limp dick,
Small nuts.
small nuts. Wait, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you jump on steroids and they're even smaller.
Yeah, the factories ain't working, man. They're shut down.
Yo, my nuts are so big right now with this HCG cycle.
Really?
They fucking swelled up,
They make
dude.
your shits big, dude.
They're swelled, and now my fucking dick is tingly again.
Really?
It's nice.
Wow.
It's nice. I like HCG.
Don't get a girl pregnant, man.
Anyways, yeah. Wait. Yeah. If you guys are feeling those symptoms of low T, then our HRT clinic is bodybuilding-friendly, and their name is Transcend HRT, and I love them so much. I love you guys, Jesse and Cameron, you fucking mad scientist.
Sick boys.
Yeah, you guys can get a bunch of cool things from them that you don't need your blood work for, such as healing peptides, IGF-1, growth hormone secretagogues, and peptides. Cialis, erectile dysfunction treatments, hair loss treatments. They even have this dope ass mix with minoxidil, finasteride, and a third one I can't really remember. I don't think it's dutasteride. I can't remember what it was, but super effective trio. A lot of really dope things, and you don't have to get your blood work to get nearly all of them. However, I do advise that if you guys are doing HRT therapy, or you feel like you do have symptoms of low T, or you're doing PEDs or any of that stuff, even if you just did SARMs once, then I think it's very important that you guys should probably get your blood work done. If I were you, I would get my blood work done, because I want to make sure that my organs are doing well. And I also really, it would be nice to have a little record on the testosterone that I've had.
Oh, yeah.
From when I started, what my natural T was versus my T afterwards. Guys, I have my own confession. I never got my blood work done before I started doing PEDs. Like I told you, I just took those orals. So now I will never know what my natural T was, which sucks. I'll never know what my natural T was before I started competing. I was pretty big. I won't know what my natural T was before I took steroids. So, dude, it would be cool for you to do your blood work, because then you'd be like, oh man, my T is at 600 or my T is at 700.
Yeah.
Your T could be at 400 and you could be hella jacked. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
As long as you know the number respective to what happens later on in life, then it's cool fucking data. You're a scientist, and now you have data to go off of for your future experiments, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of it can be placebo too. You come off cycle and you're like, oh my God, I'm at 500. I feel like shit. And it's if you didn't get your blood work done before, you might have been at a 500 beforehand.
Yeah.
And you get in your head and you're like, I've never recovered.
Yeah.
At that point, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of our friends, Frat Pat's too.
Frat Pat.
Dude, he's like the jackedest natty person I've ever freaking seen. And he's too scared to get his blood work done because he's scared that his test is going to be low. I'm like, bro, there's no chance. And even if your test is low, all that means is that you get fucking jacked responding to low test.
Yeah.
How sick is that?
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So just it's cool to get your number done. So that way, in the future, say that you suddenly feel out of nowhere, you get your levels checked and you're like, holy shit, I'm below 300 now. or something.
Yeah.
Say that happened, or say that he took something. Now he knows what's happening, and now he can decide to like supplement over it or fix it if he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Get some TRT and save his life like I did.
Yeah. But yeah, it's always good just to have a marker.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a placeholder, just to know where you're at.
Yeah.
You know, on your baseline. Absolutely.
I always felt like a bitch when I was a kid, dude. Like my dad is a fucking amazing man, a smart professor, but my dad was the in the relationship with him and my mom. He was the more feminine one. My mom definitely was the masculine of the family. So growing up, I had a like, it was weird. I felt like I didn't really have a like a masculine figure to look up to in terms of like things that I wanted to learn, such as like talking to girls or lifting and bodybuilding or like, I don't know, doing camping stuff and whatever. Like my mom put me in Boy Scouts because I had to learn something somehow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I couldn't learn it from my family. So like how, like if we can like put out some kind of information that might help people, like, or help even kids that haven't had, you know, the information that I had or that I wish I had, that would be pretty sick.
Yeah.
If we could.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. It goes down to the deeper value, bro. It's the value you put onto the world, dude. That's what's beautiful about social media.
Yeah.
You know, like, dude, the amount of following that you have and the amount of influence that you can possibly bestow on the world, like, that's unprecedented, man. That's like stuff that, like, you know, way back when, like, you would have to be a major political figure or something just to have like that type of influence. It's pretty crazy.
Right. So you guys check my shit. Like I'm not a genius. I don't know everything.
Yeah.
So check me.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Humble. Get humbled.
Yeah. I'm always humbled by people, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now that I'm on TRT, it's kind of a weird thing that like it's kind of hard for me to tell whether or not it was genetics or not, whether or not my testosterone was low before or it was nurture and it was just how I was raised. But I feel like I can take ownership of my masculinity now. Like I feel so much more in touch with my masculine than I ever have in my entire life. And now also, like, dude, I used to have so many like girlfriends. I had so many female friends. But now I'm making all these dope ass close relationships with my boys right now.
Yeah.
Like this last year,
yeah,
we've been rolling deep with the boys, and it's been sick.
It's important, man.
Yeah.
You gotta have them boys, man. You gots to have the boys. It's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know. I don't know if it's because of testosterone, because it's of TRT or what, but I do definitely feel a difference in TRT. Like when I've increased my dosages, I feel more of that. Like when I like blasted 400 that one time, I was like really taking in charge of masculinity. I was like going out there and getting shit done. I felt a lot more aggressive, obviously. I did feel a lot more irritable because 400 is a fucking lot. But there was a lot of other aspects, man. Like a lot of things about masculinity and just being a fucking man were so much easier to do with that test level than when I was natural or when I was younger or a kid before I ever touched PEDs. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is interesting. You know, I feel like something like that too is, it's like a cycle, right? So, you know, let's say to start, you didn't have the highest testosterone levels, you know, growing up through adolescence. And like, because of that, you know, you might have the predisposition to not be able to maintain some stuff that's more like masculine sided, right? And as you go out in the world and you interact with others, it's almost like they self-affirm that into you. Because they respond to that, right? So like whatever it is, you know, if you're not ambitious enough, you can't put your foot down in certain situations, like whatever it is, you know, it's almost like it starts because of that, but it snowballs because you believe in that 100% because of just how people respond, you know, and like you self-affirm it and it keeps going, and at that point, like you're pretty much stuck in the mud. But with something like TRT, it helps you get out of that rut, and then you could keep building a new cycle of just like being able to culture your masculinity and be able to like see that come into fruition and like actually like, you know, just create the process of of reestablishing yourself in a different aspect. And I feel like TRT is like a good catalyst for that because it's literally the baseline of your chemistry. You know,
Yeah,
it's like what is it's the foundation of your mental
it really
as,
is.
as a man. Yeah.
It's crazy how much of a difference it makes.
Yeah.
Like physically, mentally, even spiritually.
Yeah.
Your hormone levels make all the difference.
It's huge, man. Yeah, it's really, really important, you know. And the thing about testosterone too is when you're natural, it's like it actually lowers when you are in situations of struggle, when you're in situations where you're not necessarily the highest in like whatever hierarchy you place yourself in, you know, like it lowers and it becomes this self-fulfilling thing where, you know, let's say like you lose your job, you get really down on yourself, your testosterone tanks because your testosterone tanks, you know, the ambition to push anymore. You don't feel like you want to do anything like that. And then as that happens, it builds this momentum where you just keep falling and falling and falling and falling, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely reminds me of when I was heavily depressed when my testosterone was suppressed, dude. I didn't even want to do anything. I was so lucky that happened during COVID, like right when COVID started. Because I didn't want to do anything, dude. I didn't even want to step outside of the house, bro.
Yeah.
I like didn't even want to be like seen. And like I would just look at I saw my body withering away. My muscle mass was getting lower and my like water weight and fat was just increasing. Just continuously increasing. I just started getting like more flat and fat. The more flat and fat stage.
Yeah.
It was nuts, dude.
It's scary, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's scary too is someone that wouldn't necessarily make the correlation that they did something that affect their testosterone. You know? They're just like, what is wrong with me? What's going on? They run one cycle, they run like a 19 Nor's, right? They run Trent and it's like you don't realize like you're screwed potentially for like a good year, you know, like those metabolites are in your body, you're gonna be suppressed, and like you just get some guy that you just like some gym bro and he's like, yo, take this, it's gonna be fine. You take it, you come off and your testosterone's in the gutter. And if you don't make that correlation that because of what you did, it's affecting your testosterone like that, you know, you're gonna blame other things, you're gonna get in this bad pitfall where you're just messed up, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't know where to look. Yeah. Like I've seen people like that. I have clients like that have set themselves up in that position, and it's really it's terrifying, especially when they didn't know that that's what caused it. You know, they think it's like, what's wrong with me? I'm depressed. Like this is wrong. That's wrong. And it's like, no, you're literally the foundation of your life, which is your hormones, like are absolutely abysmal. Yeah.
And it sucks because a lot of them don't even realize that's what it is.
Yeah.
You just go through life wondering what the fuck is wrong with me.
Exactly.
Because that's what happened to me the first few months. And then Ro and Melody, like my two best and closest girlfriends, were like, maybe you should check your mental health. Like maybe you should like focus more on your mental health and stuff. And I took that so personally. I was like, it's not my mental health, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like every day. Like I would like try to practice good mental health and didn't change the fact that I felt absolutely depressed. You know, it didn't like just practicing mental health didn't fix depression.
Yeah.
It can help, but the stuff that comes inside, the things that are like from your health, that are ingrained from your health, you have to address your health first.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I think the biggest issue with that too, like when people are always like, oh, you need to adjust your mental health, like you need to like get like in tune with spirituality. Like that's 100% right. But at the same time, like there is very like real foundational things that need to be in check, you know, like have a healthy relationship with your friends, have a healthy relationship with yourself, be financially secure, you know, like be in a good career path where you actually see value come into fruition, like you see what you're doing that is valuable for society, stuff like that. And then obviously your hormones, like these are foundational things that need to be in check before really you can even see like any benefit from just like sticking like really trying to work with spirituality and like really trying to work with like just like becoming a happier person. Like if these things aren't in check, I mean, you're basically like trying to slap a patch on a sinking ship, but like you know, there's so many patches, it's not gonna fix it.
Right.
Yeah, it's very important.
I agree. I totally agree with that, bro. I do see hormones are like the ship, the ones driving, the ones transporting, and then the cargo is like all the extra stuff, your proteins and nutrition that you have. If you don't have proper hormones, though, your body's not going to work optimally no matter what. Like, no matter what, if you don't have proper hormones.
No, it's so important. It's very, very important.
So, shall we jump to the next topic?
Let's do it.
Telltale signs of a fake natty.
Very hot topic, man.
Yeah. If you guys look like Gorilla Brooks,
if you got
very likely
like
a fake natty.
Come on now. Yeah, man. It's there's some telltale signs, dude. There's some telltale signs, man. If you get someone who's just absolutely huge and they're ripped up, like, I mean, number one, that's obviously like a very hot sign that, like, okay, this dude might be on something. Because usually it's like, if you're natural, you're either shredded or you're big. Like, a lot of people, unless you're like a genetic elite, it's really hard to just be 200 pounds shredded like that.
There's no chance that well, unless you're like tall or something, but like, if you were just, I mean, obviously BMI, like size, all this makes a difference, but I think you guys understand what we're saying. Like, if you look like a bowling ball and you have like 3% body fat and you're holding that for a long period of time, like, there is a very, 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 very low chance.
Very low. Yeah. And the reason being is, if you're in a huge calorie deficit, your testosterone is going to be very low. And when your testosterone is low, the first thing that gives away is going to be your muscle mass.
Right.
Like, your body's going to sacrifice your muscle mass to be able to maintain that calorie requirement. And when you're on TRT or when you're on cycle, like, your body doesn't have to worry about that because that's already in check. Your testosterone is completely fine in a deficit.
You do have to worry about your thyroid health when you are dieting that hard, even if you're on TRT.
Yeah.
But luckily, obviously, testosterone's not going to plummet because it's exogenous.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I think back in the old fitness days when Gymshark was ruling king and no one was talking about anything that they were taking, I think there was definitely a particular thing that people did in the industry in order to try to like blow themselves up in social media, like a particular thing to get themselves a particular look so they looked like special and they looked different. And obviously it's something that they never really ever had to talk about, right? So like, you can't just take tests and look absolutely sick in a few weeks, but you can take halotestin, Winstrol, Trenbolone, Masteron, any of these things that are dryers, any of these like DHT derived PDs, or just any of the ones that any of the ones that just make the most cosmetic effect on your physique in a short term is something that's very easy to take, especially when it's just an oral. Like, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but there are a lot of people in the past that they are probably natty now. They were probably natty beforehand. They were probably natty for a good portion of their time on social media or, during life. But like, if they have these pictures where they're just like rock hard shredded and like maybe they stepped on stage, it is very likely that they popped something.
Yeah.
Like they popped Winnie and then they came off and they PCT'd.
Yeah.
And that's an oral. That's a pill. Like, you could technically have never injected anything whatsoever, but still look dick skin shredded for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, like some crazy shit that everyone's just like, how the hell did he get there? Like, I want to know how he got there. Like, I want to buy his program. Like, tell me what you're eating. Like, what supplements are you taking? Little do they know, the supplement is like a oral steroid. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Yeah. That's a secret in the industry for sure. Absolutely. It was.
Yeah. And, I think that goes into the, when you're taking an oral, your estrogen is also particularly low because if it suppresses your testosterone, your estrogen goes down as well, So if you take something like an oral, especially like Winstrol or something that's like a DHT dryer by nature, and your estrogen's plummeted, I mean, yeah, that's going to definitely get you pretty dick skin shredded on a considerable deficit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest point that I'm trying to say here is that like, you can take a variety of PEDs that will affect your gains in the long run, that will like improve your gains in the long run. And these are things such as like a high dose of testosterone, right? Or a high dose of some kind of like highly androgenic, an anabolic compound that you could say is a wet compound. This could be like something like growth hormone or IGF-1, things that, you only really see the difference after like months of using.
Yeah.
Obviously, depending on what your dosage is, but those are all the like long-term PEDs that you could like improve your hypertrophy over the long term. But there's a lot of PEDs out there that people use really mostly just for cutting, but is also really honestly for the cosmetic look over anything. That you can literally just pop for a few weeks and look hella shredded if you're already lean, and look especially crazy where people are just like, how the f do you look like that? Like, I want that.
Yeah.
It's a very, very easy way for people to make sales if they're not being true about what they're doing. Make sales in nutrition and diet and workouts and even gym equipment and supplements and shit. More plates. Derek was talking about Chris Hemsworth. Like Chris Hemsworth. You could call him a fake natty, but a lot of these guys, like, I think Chris has never ever once mentioned anything about like whether or not he's touched anything or hasn't. He's never claimed natty. Yeah. He just doesn't talk about it. But he does sell a program to look like Thor that has kettlebell exercises in it. And it's like, I'm sorry, but like, you're not going to look like Thor doing a bunch of kettlebell exercises for like a year unless you're taking some extra shit there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Plus, like, I don't think kettlebell exercises are gonna be the most beneficial for you in terms of hypertrophy anyways.
Yeah, it's not there's no muscle isolation. I mean, that's very functional, That's like you're about to do some CrossFit or like you're training for like a sport.
Yeah, those are functional.
Yeah, it's very functional. Like it makes sense. But yeah, in terms of like actually like looking like you have like a decent, well-built physique, like that's just muscle isolation, Yeah. And people don't want to hear that. Like a lot of people are like, what's the secret? What's the secret? But it's like, dude, in training, it's literally simple. This, like you're just trying to get the contraction on the muscle that you want to target. And it's very mundane, but that's the reality of it, Nothing special about it. Yeah.
So let's see. Should we like say people that we think are fake natties?
You could say so. I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into that.
Maybe Mike O'Hearn is just like Zeus's baby.
Mike O'Hearn is a given. That's completely fine. That's well known. It's a joke, dude. Honestly, it's just like, it's ridiculous, dude. Like that dude sells duck eggs, and he says like that's the secret to like his anabolic. Like, come on, bro. Like, and it's ridiculous, dude. Like he's selling for like hundreds of dollars. Like
duck eggs.
Yeah, man. Duck eggs, bro. Like are you really serious right now? Like you're just a straight con. It's just a straight con. Yeah. I mean, it's it's completely different if you're like claiming fake, like natural for like you just want people to talk about you, like you want some like publicity. But it's like when you're turning that into like a complete con sale, it's ridiculous, and then it puts a bad perception on the whole fitness industry.
I'm gonna start selling dog testicles to people.
I'm gonna sell bear hearts.
Bear hearts?
That's the secret.
Bear hearts?
Yeah.
That sounds legit, bro.
Right? There's probably so much testosterone in my motherfucker.
I think Jeff Sid was a fake natty at one point. I think it was at one point. I think Jeff has been natty for a very long time now, and he was natty. I'm sure that Jeff was natty for a long period of time, and he has been for a while. But I'm sure there's also been like one point in time where he like popped some orals to jump on the Olympia stage. Yeah. Or he popped some orals to look shredded for a photo shoot, because there's a particular look that it's not so much being super lean, it's being very, very, very hard and dry and still full at the same time. Yeah, you don't get that. You can't be super, 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 super dry, like dick skin shredded. Yeah. Like 3 to 5% body fat, hard and full all at the same time.
Yeah, it's natural. That's damn near impossible for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the dude is an absolute genetic freak.
And if you did, it was like, if you did somehow, then that would only be for one day, because like you carved up in order to like maintain your fullness when you suddenly got to as low of a body fat percentage as you possibly could.
I think he falls in the category too, where it becomes kind of like a hard call, because like 10, 15 years ago, like 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, man, like like the whole perception of PEDs and being unnatural was completely skewed. Like you couldn't really come out like that, you know, especially if like your main salaries is based on commissions, like endorsements, all that good stuff. I mean, some people were straight getting canceled because they came out as like unnatural, you know. So from a business standpoint, from just being able to like make your money and all that, I mean, it's hard, dude. Like you get people that are still in the fitness industry now, and it's like almost absurd that they claim natural because they just look freaky, but they set the precedence for that 5, 10 years back when they almost had to say they're natural. And at this point, they're just like, well, I can't go back now.
Yeah.
You know, like I got too much to lose, which sucks. But yeah, it's a very hard call.
Yeah, dude. I appreciate that a lot of people gave me respect when I like started really, really openly talking about being not natural, and then, you know, what PEDs I've done. But there were a lot of people, that was like a good like half of my following, that just stopped wanting to engage with my content, which makes sense because a lot of them followed me for workouts, assuming that I was. You would be surprised how many people like aren't familiar with PEDs whatsoever, so they just assume that maybe I'm natural. Yeah. It's more so the hope. Yeah. Like hoping that your favorite influencer is natural gives you some kind of faith and hope.
Like I can look like that.
Right. And that's kind of the thing that like makes me feel kind of sad, because I would love to give that to people. Like I think that is super sick. Like, oh, like hopefully maybe I could look like him someday, so I'm going to keep working hard now, right? So what if you're like, what? So I mean, like,
that makes
people
sense.
are always like complaining about like, oh, like, you know, you don't want to let them down. Well, like maybe if these people really care, they just would never stop working.
Yeah. You know, and the thing is too, like, you have to have some sense of reality, you know, like you have to be grounded to a certain extent where, I mean, realistically, man, there's some people like you included, if you have like a good sense of like grounding and understanding like how PDs work and stuff, like you wouldn't necessarily be like, oh yeah, he's natural. Like, dude, you look fucking freaky, you know, like it's just like that look. And it shouldn't be like you lose hope because you see that someone that you look up to is not natural. You know, if they claim not natural, it's their move. And I mean, obviously you're not gonna be able to emulate that 100%, but at the same time, like you can still look amazing, completely natural. You know, you might not be social media like, oh my God, this dude stands out, but people don't look for that, you know?
Yeah, dude. You guys can still look really, really great natural for sure.
If you look good, you look good, you know, like, yeah, you don't have to be that 0.01% where everyone's like, this dude's a freak. Yeah.
Plus, in my opinion, doing the PEDs is harder anyways. Yeah. Most people already, like, the simplest thing, most people already don't want to inject. Most people don't already want to put a needle in their butt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude.
So imagine having to do your blood work and then having to like worry about your organs all the time, and then having to worry about soon later on like your hair.
Yeah.
And then like even people who have acne, erectile dysfunction. It's a whole science project.
Dude,
it's a whole science project. So it's a lot more than the natty than being natty. It's a lot more.
Yeah, it exponentializes the learning curve for like what you need to know. You know, like, if you hop on PEDs, like people are like, oh, you took the easy route and stuff, and it's like, well, on a superficial level, like sure, you know, you can make that argument, but at the same time, it's like from an investment standpoint, if you're really trying to do it right and you're trying to be like proactive with your health and make sure everything's good, I mean, the amount of variables that you have to focus on from then on is exponentialized. You know, you have to think about all your blood levels. You have to think about how this is reacting with this, is reacting with that, you know, and like also another really complicated thing is like if you're in a bad mental state, and this goes back to the hormone foundation we're talking about, you know, you don't know if it's because you injected something that you're not used to, if your estrogen's low, if your testosterone's high, or if it's actually like a lifestyle thing that you should probably focus on, you know, like if you're natural and stuff's like, you're like, oh, I'm in a bad headspace. It's, you know, there's a certain thing that you could focus on where it's like, okay, like it could definitely be this or this, but on PEDs, it's like, well, I have like 5 to 10 different hormone levels that I really need to focus on, and like this could all be the issue, you know?
Yeah.
It makes things so complicated. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to take another quick break and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
Trensparent. Woo. All right. Finishing this up. Okay. So, fake natties, Cribs Housework, Crimson. The Rock. Oh man. You know someone who is Natty though? That I believe that's Natty. I mean, whatever. Of course he's Natty, but he's dude. Chris Harriet looks nuts.
Yeah.
Calisthenics guy. He's just always dick skin shredded.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's definitely easier to be that dick skin shredded when you're not as huge.
Yeah.
It's like the water weight, like it's like the homeostasis of having water weight within your, like intracellular layer and your like subcutaneous layer. Jesus Christ. Yeah. It's almost as if like the more muscle you have, then normally the more watery you are to some extent.
Yeah, it makes sense, dude, because the more muscle you have, the more like glycogen requirement you have, because it takes more to be able to feel those guys. So yeah, it just correlates to more water weight.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus I feel like there would be some kind of correlation to like increasing your electrolytes and stuff in order to fuel the amount of muscle that you have.
Yeah.
I mean, you would obviously just weigh more, having more muscle as well.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways. One last topic that Nathan and I wanted to jump on real quick, just in this first episode. So we were just skimming the surface because we just really wanted to talk about a lot of things that we believe that, men may be interested in, that we are passionate about.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to talk about like dating or talking to chicks and stuff. That would be fun too. But one thing we wanted to talk about was social media and the comparison and comparing yourselves to others. So like, because I truly believe a lot of the reason why, a lot of people will want to jump on PEDs is because of comparisons and competition.
Yep.
If you're in sports, you probably want to do a little competition. You probably want to do a little PEDs because you want a little edge on the competition, or you want to be better, or you think everyone else will do it. So if everyone else is doing it, then you better fucking do it too.
Yeah. Catch up, boy.
Or, say that you just feel insecure because, you've been on social media and you've been looking at social media for a good long time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there that you really want to have the physique like, and you want to look crazy as shit, but you just feel like you can't get there because you feel like maybe you don't have the genetics, or maybe you feel like it'll take you forever and you only just started lifting and you don't feel like you'll be good enough to get there in the amount of time you have.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard, man.
And,
I mean, with social media, because like we've never, for like 99% of human evolution, like we haven't lived in a world where literally, millions of people are at your fingertips at like any given point. You're just sliding and it's like the top of the top, and whatever aspect you want to look at, like, for most of like human evolution, like you're just in these small little tribes, like it's like 100, 200 people. So psychologically, you always want to create that hierarchy where you look at like the top dogs in whatever aspect that you're looking in, and then you kind of set that comparison where, and it does a lot for your self-worth. It does a lot for your sense of well-being, but I think like the biggest thing, which is really hard to do as humans, is to just be in competition with yourself. It's not a competition with anyone else, but it's so hard to do because we're only human, like you always want to make those comparisons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so easy to make those comparisons, bro.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you got to remember where you came from, because knowing that your life is better than it was before, is better every day, is the most satisfying and most fulfilling feeling.
Yeah.
If you can just get there, really focus on that, then it will be so fulfilling.
Yeah. It's competition with yourself. I mean, the reality is you're never going to be the strongest guy in the world. You're never going to look the best in the world. You're never going to be whatever it is. Like, it's just not, there's so many people out there, so to put that standard where it's like you're always chasing that dragon, where it's like you always want to be like the number one, is just not really feasible. You got to be in a competition with yourself.
Well, a lot of people also forget that in order to have that one person's, like, say, social media engagement or following, in order to have that one person's like social media persona or life, you must have everything that comes with that person's life, and you have no clue what that person is going through. You have absolutely no clue.
Yeah.
Elon Musk once even said, like, you don't want to be me. You don't want to be Elon Musk? Like, one of the richest fucking people on the planet, most successful fucking people on the planet.
Well, it's,
Well, because he has his own pains. He has his own stresses and his own struggles as well.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely, man. And it's one of those things where like you just want to take that one positive aspect about someone and just incorporate that. But like you said, like
You can't.
You got to think about the sacrifices that person made to be able to get to that point, and a lot of the times they're chasing some demons.
Right.
It's like, and then you look even to get like the superficial level of like, some girls or some guys, like they want to be the prettiest. And it's like, that's cool and all, but these people that are like always chasing that, like they want to be the prettiest, the best looking, there's some huge demons that is feeling that passion for, like that's what comes with that. It's not just being the prettiest. It's like, they might be the prettiest, but at the same time, like they probably think they're the ugliest person in the world, It's just straight perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, I hate being the ugliest person in the world.
Sucks bad.
But it's so easy, dude. Like, I still compare myself all the time.
Yeah.
I compare myself constantly. And that's something that if you guys want to start your YouTube, your social media, your Instagram, your TikTok, there's no better time than to start right now. Because every single day that you put into that is an investment in yourself. Mm-hmm. And it's going to take some fucking time, right? And comparing yourself to others is not going to help you get there.
No.
Because it's so important. Like, this is an aspect of like, whether or not you believe in spirituality or not, it is a container that helps with positive mentality. Mm-hmm. And that, in my personal belief, is something that genuinely helps with your productivity in business, in your life, in your happiness.
Yeah.
Like, keeping a positive mindset is so important.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like, having that faith. So if you guys just start now and remember to, keep your eyes on your path.
Mm. Yeah.
Then I have so much belief that you will get somewhere, because that's what happened with me.
Yeah.
Is I just started blogging. I just started posting my stuff on Instagram. I had no clue where it was going to go. It was very easy for me to like think about what other people were doing, but I just tried to make sure that all I did was like, I was posting this for myself because it was fun. Mm-hmm. Like, I simply just enjoyed it to post it. And then like 5 years later, I like finally blew up on Instagram out of nowhere. Went from like 50, 100K to like 1 million.
Yeah.
Which was dope.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's something about like setting out for a goal and just really, falling in love with the process to achieve it and then getting there. It's like in terms of just like self-fulfillment, and then also just building a lot of momentum in your life. Like, that's really important to do. So if that's a goal that you want to shoot for, I mean, there's no better time than now, and it's easy to romanticize the whole process and just think it's all gonna be fun and games. But at the same time, like, if this is something that you're really passionate about, there's gonna be some bridges that are gonna be burnt. There's gonna be people that are probably gonna laugh at you, and they're gonna think like this is just a joke, and they make fun of you. But at the end of the day, it's like, these people they don't have that goal that you set for yourself. Like, that doesn't matter.
Those people.
Yeah.
Dude. Those people.
Yeah, they're just insecure, man. They're trying to hold you back because they have their own demons that they're fighting. Mm-hmm. It's like, and it's easy to see it as a very dissuading thing. Like, oh my God, these people that like I care about, like, their opinions, and they're like, really talking about me, and like, it's human nature, but at the same time, it's one of the great filters that a lot of people haven't gotten past, and a lot of people that want to do this, they've never even started because they don't even want to deal with that. But it's definitely something you got to push through.
I had so many bullies when I was a kid, and now, even though I want to continue growing and I'm sure I can get somewhere better, I can still say to myself, as if I was speaking to them, like, look at me now, bro. Yeah. Like, fucking look at me now.
Yeah.
Like, you guys made fun of me for doing that.
Yeah.
You guys made fun of me for posting.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm making a fucking living off of it, and I don't gotta sit at a 9 to 5 job, be an engineer behind a desk. I don't gotta deliver mail like you do.
Yeah, dude, it's so common, man.
You just gotta focus on your fucking self.
Yeah, it's so funny, dude. Like, there's always gonna be people trying to pull you down, you know. And it's whether it's people that know you, people that don't know you. Sometimes the people you're close with are the ones that try to pull you down the most, you know. And it's a very dirty thing, but I think it just comes down to it's someone who lacks the self-awareness to realize what they're truly doing, but at the end of the day they are miserable with their own lives and they don't want to see someone get above them, so they try to pull them down.
Hence all the TikTok accounts without profile pictures,
right,
or content.
It's so funny.
It's so savage on TikTok. Don't ever look at your comments, guys. Just don't look at your comments. I mean, maybe when you're starting off, it's really sweet for you to engage with people, like especially people that want your help or like just want to like talk to you and ask you questions. But when you get to a certain point and you start getting all these haters and stuff, it's not even worth it.
Don't engage. You can never win an argument.
Like instead, just put like a like thing on your story where like, oh, ask me questions or whatever, or some other form, and you can talk to people that way. Or the people that DM you. Most of the people that DM you are probably the people that care more about you, and like
it's a little more personal.
Yeah, it's definitely more personal. The comments, like the comments.
They're just like literally when I see someone on TikTok that has no profile and they're just talking like just straight trash, I just look at it like that's literally an NPC, you know? Like that's like
someone's just projecting.
Like that's just like a side character that like you're never gonna see in your life. You're never gonna even like they're just like they're completely irrelevant, you know. It's absolutely nothing.
NPC.
They're straight NPCs. That's just what it is, you know.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's like if a bot just commented that. Like, it means absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, just wanted to like let you guys know, and that we're all in the same place. Like we all compare ourselves. We all do, for sure. Like social media. Nathan and I have been talking about how it's been very difficult lately. I mean, for the entire industry, honestly, especially Instagram, like Instagram engagement has been going down. And so a lot of people that have been in the industry for a while, a lot of older folks are starting to see this. And unfortunately, if you're making your living off of social media, it's very easy to tie a lot of your self-worth and self-value to it, because it's your livelihood. It's the way you're making your money. It's also your business. And then it's also just easy to tie your likes to like your value sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like you need to be mindful and conscious of it in order not to. So we're all going through it, but the fact of the matter is that doesn't affect us. If you realize that your likes are not your value, it has nothing to do with your happiness. It hardly affects your business. Most of us have seen little to no effect on our business whatsoever, simply because the engagement on Instagram isn't doing as well anymore.
It's a very superficial metric, you know?
Right.
And it's something that, you know, we talked about this before, but it's so easy to dissect and pick apart because it's a quantitative measurement, right? So like it's something that is on paper. You see it directly. You see how it impacts you directly. You see a number. Like there's no abstract connectedness to, like it's not abstract. It's very concrete, right? You just see a number and it hits you. It's sharp, you know. And that's not really how life works. Like life, a lot of it is qualitative. There's quality to it, and the thing about that is with quality, it's very abstract, you know. Like that's very there's a lot of pieces and parts to that you can't necessarily just see on a superficial level, and that's not very congruent with social media. Social media is very very one-sided, and it's very like it's just like it's one-dimensional, you know. There's not much depth to it, but it still affects you the same way as if you know, like you're not doing it good in your real life. Yeah. Lost my train of thought there. G's kind of
dude, I feel that. I kind of want another one. I got this new little thing called Cake. Hits different. Electric Kool-Aid. Oof.
What is that?
That actually feels really nice.
What is that?
You want some?
Is it CBD?
Yeah.
No.
CBD with THC.
Nah, I'm good.
I know. You get fucked up. Fuck. Yeah, dude. But saw this podcast with Jay Shetty and Megan Trainor, and she said this thing that really resonated with me. She blew up right in the beginning, right to like number one on the charts, because she was like doing some kind of show that was like lyric writing. She came back the second time after they rejected her, and they were like, "Wow, we love this song so much. Like, we want you to sing it." So she sang the song, and then it blew up.
Yeah.
She got first on the charts, and then after that, she kept trying to put out her music, and she was not doing as well, and she was like wondering like, why am I not doing as well? Why am I not number one anymore? Because when she did reach number one, she was like, oh wow, like it didn't take much effort, like I just got there, like this is sick, this is awesome. She didn't really know what it meant, because that was never really her original intention.
Yeah.
But then afterwards it started getting to her, and she was like, why am I not number one anymore? Like, why am I not doing as well?
Yeah.
And she immediately resorted to analyzing the top 40.
Yeah.
Analyzing her analytics, and then analyzing other people's analytics. And what does that do? I think that takes away from your originality.
Yeah.
I think that starts making her analyze how other people are being successful. So now she's trying to incorporate things that they're doing in order to, be like them, or at least do as well as them. And like, to some extent, you could say that you're just trying to figure out like what's relevant, and you're trying to figure out like what they're doing that could help you. But I think it's very easy to almost start copying people too.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to take a lot of things that aren't just going to help you, but are almost like you taking away from the creativity that would arise from your original content, saying that you did not have any influence from other people's artistry.
Yeah, that's what's hard, because in the end of the day, like, it's a creative realm. And with social media, with music, it'd be just being an art. If you want to be an artist, whatever, like, it's a creative realm. And when you are too focused on people's perceptions, and you're too focused on what everyone else is doing to be successful, you become a prisoner to that. Like, you become chained by people's perceptions, and then that just basically destroys everything. Like, there's a Stoic belief that your success should be a manifestation of your true foundation of like who you are, like how you go out in the world when no one's looking, and how you set up your mind, how you structure it, like all that good stuff. Your success should be a manifestation of all that, instead of you completely trashing your mental, completely going through the gutter just to be able to reenact what it might look like superficially, like to be successful, whether that means like taking pictures of social media, posting certain things, being a successful artist, and then that just basically takes away from all creativity and uniqueness as a person. Yeah.
And that's how you guys are going to blow up and do sick, is by being your fucking self. 100%. Yeah. Anyways, that's it, guys. We got to cut it short because it's rolling a little bit over time. But that was the first episode of Trensparent. Yeah,
buddy.
We have so many topics that we want to talk about. It's crazy. Like, we couldn't even figure out everything that we wanted to say and compact it into this one episode. So we literally just threw in things that we might be like valuable to preface in this first episode as like a way to preface the future of the podcast. But this podcast really is, I think, even though I would like to keep it specific and kind of niche, I think we're going to be covering a lot of topics. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
But this is Nathan Brooks 1. Nathan Brooks 1 on Instagram, and Brooks_built on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then what's your YouTube?
Gorilla Brooks Fitness.
Really?
Yeah.
Gorilla Brooks Fitness. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube if you haven't already. I'm sure you guys are on my YouTube, but Instagram is Nyle. And then TikTok is Nyle_Naga. And we also both do coaching. I have my own app as well as my own fitness group, which you guys can collaborate in and share your updates, as well as DM me personally. Or if you want a more personal engagement and a one-on-one coaching opportunity, then Nathan here does that.
Yes, sir.
And he is quite a great coach.
Hit me up, man.
Yeah. He truly, truly cares about his clients. That's probably one of the most valuable thing I would say about Nathan is that he truly gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like this guy's a very, very compassionate and empathetic soul. So, which is why we're boys.
Yes, sir.
Because we just met at the gym randomly and we're like, dude, you're huge. And then we started talking about stoicism after we went out at night.
Yeah.
We're just f***ed up. And then we were in the car for an hour just talking about stoicism. Yeah. I was like, this guy is sick.
He's huge and sick. What the fuck? Yeah, it's a match made in heaven, man.
Big ass nerds. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything I want to talk about. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's about it. So yeah, you guys, please comment what else you'd like to hear, what else you'd like us to cover. I'm going to have more and more and more. I'm going to have a lot of guests on the show, so we're going to have our own topics as well. But if you guys do want us to talk about anything, I would like to know anyways. That way I can create special episodes, particularly for those questions or those interests. So yeah, guys, to support us, like, comment, and subscribe. Please comment down below if you're on the YouTube, or give us a review on Spotify, Apple Music, and iTunes. It would mean the absolute freaking world. It would make all the difference. Please, 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 guys. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, buddy.
Trensparent.
Trensparent. Let's go.
Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
Love y'all.
Chick.
Peace.